Hello Summoners and welcome back to another ProGuides mid-patch update video. My name is Christoph and today I'll be going over all the strongest champions using fresh statistics to give you guys the best and most accurate tier lists available. We encourage all our viewers to comment on these lists and say if you agree or disagree with us on specific champion placements. There were a lot of changes made since the start of patch 9.22, and our challenger analysts and partnered pro players are so excited to bring you guys our updated tier list. Also guys, as a reminder, the new champion, Senna, will be added to our mid-patch update list. Her stats have finally come in, and we are prepared to put her against the other AD carries and supports. One more thing guys, today's question of the day is, which champions do you think FPX will choose for their World Championship skins? I'd say Kai'Sa for LWX, Lee Sin for Tian, Thresh for Crisp, Nautilus for Doenby, and Gangplank for GLM Goon. Let us know your answers in the comments down below. And, of course, if you guys want to get better at League of Legends, then make sure to click the link below. You will see huge improvements to your gameplay this preseason. There is no better way to prepare for the regular season than grind it in the preseason. We have a ton of courses to help you out, and for all of you guys who just want to climb faster, we have a bunch of great coaches who will walk you through step by step what to do in each game to get to that dream division you guys belong in. Now with that being said, let's jump right into the mid-patch update. The top lane tier list sees a lot of changes in our mid-patch update. In the S+ tier, however, there are the same three champions that we always talk about, Kayle, Kled, and Garen. Kayle did receive a nerf at the start of patch 9.22, and our analysts were spot on in keeping her in the S+ tier. The nerfs did make her a bit weaker overall, but her stance in the meta remains almost unaffected, and she's still one of the strongest champions in the game. A big reason why she's currently so strong is because of Kleptomancy. This rune allows Kayle to stay even in gold while also being behind in CS due to the gold and item generation. This ultimately means that her early game is way too safe and easy while being an insanely powerful late game champion. However, you should expect Kayle to drop from the S+ tier next patch due to the complete removal of Kleptomancy in patch 9.23. If you want to stay updated with these changes coming in the preseason next week, then make sure to check out our previous videos and click that sub button to be notified of future updates. In the S tier, we have Renekton, Vladimir, Darius, Mordekaiser, Jax, Pantheon, and Fiora. These 7 champions have been pretty dominant through most of the season, but again, the S tier will see a lot of changes next patch. Since Spear of Shojin is being removed, champions like Renekton and Jax will become significantly weaker. Also, due to Kleptomancy no longer being a thing, Fiora and Vladimir will also have their overall strength decreased. However, since Conqueror is being reworked next week, this might benefit these champions as well. The new Fervor of Battle style Conqueror really synergizes well with Fiora, Renekton, Jax, and Darius, so we'll make sure to keep a close eye on that. We have 3 more champions that we want to cover in the top lane, and the first one is going to be Ryze. Ryze top has been seeing a lot more play in solo queue recently, and it's honestly quite strong. With the way his current stats are looking, it's very likely that he will need another rework within the coming months. He just does way too much damage right now, and his wave clear is unmatched by anyone in the top lane. Next up, we have Ornn. Ornn top has been doing surprisingly well in solo queue in patch 9.22. His win rate has made it above the 51% mark, and his play rate has nearly doubled. Top laners are finally realizing the value that Ornn provides in the current meta and are catching on to the hype train. He's honestly one of the most underrated champions in the game, and our analysts highly recommend that you give him a try. You'll be surprised at just how good he is. Lastly, you may have noticed this already, but Nocturne top has been added to our B tier for top lane. Nocturne top has been rising in popularity in Korean solo queue, and we're predicting that this might become a nice solo queue special. A lot of pro players are testing the waters with this new pick, so make sure to try it out in your next few normal games. Alright, that's it for the top lane. Let's move on to the jungle. The jungle tier list sees a lot of changes in our mid-patch update. In the S+ tier, we have the same 3 champions, which are Kha'Zix, Echo, and Shaco. These 3 champions will bring you the best results in the end of your season climb, so make sure to abuse them as much as possible. In the S tier, we have Evelynn, Elise, Lee Sin, Kayn, Karthus, Zac, and J4. These 7 champions will also bring you great results when it comes to solo queue. Our analysts recommend you pick up Zac this patch because he's an extremely underrated jungler. Although he's not that common in Western Western servers like EU and NA, the Eastern servers like Korea are prioritizing him in Champ Select in the current meta. The engage potential, survivability, CC, and burst are all very valuable when it comes to this patch, and the best part is, he's extremely easy to play. Try him out and let us know how that goes down below. One notable pick that we want to cover in the A tier is going to be Master Yi. Master Yi received a few bug fixes a couple of patches ago, and his stats have been going up and up ever since. I've actually tried him out myself, and the Rageblade build feels so much better to play now that the bugs are gone. Having those Rageblade stacks stack up properly makes it so much easier to shred tanks, and I'm so glad Riot has finally fixed this bug. Next up, let's talk about Qiyana. Although Qiyana has been a high priority pick during pro play, specifically at the World Championships, she's actually not that great for solo queue. Her early clear isn't the best, her gank potential pre-6 is kinda meh, and she's very fragile when it comes to getting invaded. On top of that, it's pretty hard for you to contest Scuttle Crabs against some of the other S-tier picks like Lee Sin, Elise, and Echo. But don't get me wrong, Qiyana is still a strong champion, but unless you really know what you're doing, she's suboptimal in the jungle. Lastly, for the jungle, let's go over Malphite. Malphite received a nerf at the start of the patch, which lowered the AP ratio on his ultimate, Unstoppable Force. Although this didn't affect his stance as a top laner, it pretty much gutted his stance as a jungler. The full AP Malphite jungle route is pretty much dead, and you should probably avoid playing it from now on. His win rate on this playstyle has dropped by over 6%, and his play rate went down the drain. Rip the Rock Boy. Okay, now let's run it down mid. The mid lane tier list sees a couple of changes in our mid-patch update video. In the S tier, we have the same two champions, which are Talon and Fizz. These two champions are the best for solo queue currently due to their ability to solo kill their opponents and make plays around the map. Talon is definitely better than Fizz for solo queue due to significantly better roam potential with his ability to hop over walls. In our S tier, we have one huge change, which is the addition of Yasuo. Yup, you heard it right. Yasuo has made his way into the S tier for our mid-patch update. Generally, champs like Yasuo, Vayne, Kai'Sa, and Akali hold a very low win rate in solo queue due to their high skill cap. For example, when Akali was one of the most broken champions in the game, her win rate was still around 47% due to her high skill cap. Yasuo has traditionally held a win rate around that amount, but guys, has been brought up to 51% on the Korean server. Even on the Western servers like NA, Yasuo has managed to almost get himself out of the red zone at a 49.5% win rate. This is pretty impressive considering the vast amount of inting Yasuos in your solo queue games. We also welcome back another familiar face this patch to the S tier, which is going to be Twisted Fate. TF has always been on the brink of making that push to S tier and has finally done so in patch 9.22. The AD and AP style are both viable for solo queue, but we'd recommend the AP style in most cases. The AD style is a lot harder to execute, and the wave clear form of AP style is very valuable for solo queue. However, you might want to play him in a few normal games before jumping into ranked because he's actually quite tough to play. In the A tier, we have a few notable picks which are going to be Qiyana, Kayle, Syndra, Aurelion Sol, Nocturne, Ryze, and Vladimir. Asol received a rework a few patches ago, and his win rate has finally stabilized in the high 56 to 57%. The main reason behind this is because only Asol mains are playing this champion now, and nobody else. That ultimately means that the bad Asol players aren't negatively affecting his win rate. However, a big reason why Asol's win rate is this high is because he's actually quite strong as well. Many players have given up on him because of his rework and the new W, but this iteration of Asol is a lot stronger than the previous one. I'm sorry to all the Asol mains out there for spoiling your little secret, but trust me guys, he's very underrated and you can get a ton of free low. Lastly, for the mid lane, let's talk about Nocturne mid. You may have noticed already, but Nocturne mid has been added to our A tier for the mid lane. A lot of players have been spamming this again in solo queue for some reason, including the god himself, Faker. One of Nocturne's biggest strengths right now is that nobody really knows how to play against him. You can always catch your opponents off guard with how fast you are, and the amount of burst you have is insane. Give him a try, it'll be worth the time. Okay, now on to ADCs. The ADC tier list sees a lot of changes in our patch 9.22 video. In the S+ tier, we have Miss Fortune, Ashe, and Caitlyn, and yup, you heard it right. Miss Fortune has made her way into the S+ tier out of nowhere. A lot of players have started spamming her again after realizing how OP the E-buffs are from a few patches ago. Our analysts recommend that you try her out with Kleptomancy because it's honestly quite OP. Even pro players are spamming this in solo queue right now, and they've had a good amount of success with her. In our S tier, we have Lucian, Jinx, Draven, Kai'Sa, Xayah, and Vayne. Both Kai'Sa and Xayah received some nerfs at the start of patch 9.22, but their stance in the meta was barely affected. Xayah is still an insanely strong ADC who has a self-peeling ultimate and insane burst. Kai'Sa is still that bursty DPS ADC with insane amounts of mobility and self-peel. Both of these ADCs are very good for solo queue, and you should learn at least one of them this patch. Kalista, on the other hand, received some buffs at the start of the patch, but has been dropped from our C tier back into the D tier where she belongs. Our analysts did predict that she'd move up slightly in the tier list, but her win rate is still awful. She's pretty much made no progress in solo queue, and she'll likely need a lot of love or even a rework to become viable again. Lastly, for ADCs, we have Senna. Although Senna is originally meant to be a support, she's actually being played as an ADC quite often. The long-ranged peeling abilities actually synergize decently with other support picks, but her lack of survivability has left her in the B tier for ADCs. However, she is way better as a support, so stay tuned for her in the support tier list. The support tier list sees a few changes in our mid-patch update, most notably in our S+ tier. We welcome back the good old Nautilus. Although he did receive a few nerfs at the start of the patch, he remains a very powerful support, guys, and has made his way back into the S+ tier. Learn this champion now. However, Blitzcrank and Leona are the two best supports in the game right now, so our analysts recommend you pick them up as well for your end-of-season climb. And of course, the moment you've all been waiting for, Senna has been placed in the A tier for supports this patch. Our analysts are expecting her win rate and stats to increase over time, but for now she'll remain in the A tier. Senna is a quite overloaded champion with a lot of mechanics and passives in her kit. Her ability to bully out opponents and peel for your carry is really strong. And on top of that, Senna's E creates a lot of interesting scenarios for roams and teamfights, which can easily be abusable by pro players. You should expect Senna to be nerfed to oblivion within the coming months because she becomes a priority pick in pro play. The only weakness that Senna currently has is how easy it is to catch her out. Once she gets hit by 1 CC, she's likely good as gone. The E has a cast time, her ult and Q have a cast time, and her W takes time before it locks up your opponents. And that wraps up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed watching the video, then hit that like button and consider subscribing if you want to be notified for the next video. Also, if you guys want to get better at League of Legends, then click that description link below. We've got incredible courses for you guys from players like Boxbox, High, Nightblue, Lorelo, and a ton of other pro players. That's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck in your next few games, and I'll see you on the Rift.